How you doing? I'm Transcendental, and you're on the infamous Living Room Network. Divine powers are always working for us because we're trying to do right. 1 month, clear conscience challenge. Speak up, let your voice be heard. I see some of you guys have actually spoken up, and actually listened to what I said about speaking up and letting your voice be heard. Just commented some of you guys this morning. This is a good thing. So let's continue to keep it rolling. Let's get right down into it. The 7 levels of consciousness explained. The first level would be in your consciousness. Okay, let me explain to you a little bit about what consciousness is before I get down and explaining it. Consciousness is the state of knowingness that a person is at. Like a room full of 5 people, right? You walk into a room full of 5 people. Every one of these persons will have a different state of consciousness. Now, how will you be able to tell who's at which state of consciousness? I personally can tell, the levels of consciousness that somebody is at based on the things that they say, their actions, how they act, their attention span, their focus. I do it through discerning somebody. Now, you may do it differently. You may read people differently, but the way I read people is, what I'm telling you right now. You can just pretty much get a understanding of what level of consciousness people will at by their conversation. Like if you talk to somebody on the phone for hours a day, every day, you will begin to get a good understanding of, what level of consciousness that person is according to the 7 layers of consciousness I'm about to tell you right now. It's not really hard. It's very easy stuff. I'm gonna give you an example of a person of a different consciousness from another person. So there's one person who walks into Walmart. There's somebody over here robbing Walmart. If this person that walks into Walmart look to their left, they will see that Walmart is currently being robbed at gunpoint. But the person walks in, goes straight to the produce section and starts to shop without even realizing the commotion that is going on the left side of the store where the cashier is getting robbed. So he is shopping. He's putting his fruits and his vegetables in the bag and stuff like that. He's about to go around to the other aisles to get some more groceries, and then all of a sudden he sees somebody run past him, and he looks at where the person is running, and then he sees the store being robbed. And then by the time he runs out the store, the robber is at the door holding everybody hostage. So he's too late. Now, a person of complete awareness, or a person at the 5th or the 6th or the 7th layer of consciousness, they probably might see the whole situation differently because they're at a different state of understanding and awareness. Now, this is people every single day. Everywhere you go now, people are at different levels of, I like to call it awareness. Rather than consciousness. Consciousness is kind of like techno savvy for me, but awareness is kind of like more realistic of what's really going on. It's just it's just who's not aware of things and who is. Now, the person who is aware of everything in their environment and their surrounding walks in Walmart, and they immediately notice a whole aerial 360 view of what's going on. So they see the robbery going on as soon as they even look to the left or get in the store far enough to even be able to look to the left, and they instantly run back out and save themselves. Go get in their car and go home and be safe. Now, the person of a low level of consciousness, he stuck in Walmart. You see what I'm saying? Now you see how things happen every day. You have dangerous situations that come upon us every day. Usually, most of the time, the people that really get caught in this danger or who get caught in bad situations are, I would like, in my understanding, is usually people of a lower consciousness, people who are not aware of what's going on in their surroundings, people who don't know that they got pickpocketed. You understand what I'm saying? But a person of high awareness would notice somebody bumped them and they got pickpocketed. Like, hold on, no, give me my wallet back, man. We're going to fight over this. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a person of a higher level of consciousness, versus a person of a lower level of consciousness who does not see the end to, them moving on and doing something new with their life. They only can see their small little world of the way they're living and thinking that that's the way that life is supposed to be, as opposed to another person of higher level consciousness who sees that the world is a platform to explore. You can go anywhere. You can go to the Amazon, you can go to Africa, you can go to Canada, you can go to Maine, you can go to Romania, you can go to China, you can go to Bangladesh and explore and just get you a hotel room and then just explore. Like, person of higher level consciousness sees the world like that, versus a person who just sees his neighborhood and the street that he live on as the biggest place in the whole wide world. See what I'm saying? So I'm gonna break it down. There's 7 layers or levels of consciousness, or what I like to call awareness. And I basically got down the basic stuff. So I know if you look up 7 levels of consciousness, you might find that people got all these weird words and stuff like that. Also, here's another fact of what I think to be true. If you have read the Bible and heard of the term the 7 seals or the 7 scrolls, I personally think that has something to do with the 7 layers of consciousness, or the 7 chakras of the body. Because otherwise, what would there be about 7 scrolls? Nobody encounters a scroll in their life every day. You know what I mean? Like, how does that has to be symbolic? So I think that it refers to the 7 layers of consciousness, or either the 7 chakras of the body. Now, the first state of consciousness is a sleep state. A sleep state. If you read the Bible, I know if you read in there many times where it says stuff like arise, O sleeper, awake, Israel, all kind of stuff like awake. Why are they telling people to awake and arise? What's the point in that? Because it's not like people sleep in bed and they done took a sleeping pill the night before and they just trying to get them to wake up. No, this is symbolic. This is metaphorically speaking. And what it's saying is awake in consciousness, awake in yourself, and realize that the power is within you. Wake up to that. Wake up to life. Smell the coffee. Wake up to reality, because there's a lot of beautiful things out here in reality that you could experience, but you can only experience it if you are aware that you are open to experience it. Like, if you're aware that they're having a free show over here, that you can go to the free show, versus thinking that there's nothing going on today and you got to pay for everything that you got to do today. But no, you can have a fun day if you have the awareness that if you just step outside and just be aware to all the things that are going on. There's a sign over there on the lawn that says free concert tonight, but you don't see that sign because you're so closed off to just staying in your own lane, in your own reality way of doing things. The first level of consciousness, the sleep state, is a level of survival. You're only thinking about yourself. It's a level of dreamlessness. You're not really dreaming a lot. You don't think about dreams, and you don't have big goals and aspirations. You kind of shut off to everything. You're really in your ego. You're just really physiologically, stuck in yourself. You're just really trapped off and closed off to anybody else's way of seeing things to help you understand that you can see the same things. The next state is another basic state, which is dream state, and everybody experienced that. And I just put dream state down because that's something that I know everybody can relate to. We all go to sleep in REM sleep, and we have dreams and stuff like that. So that is an actual state of consciousness. So dream state. Now, on the other hand, dream state could be you're finally realizing that, hey, I can dream, I can do something with my life. This is another state of consciousness. This is another realization that you begin to have about yourself, that's higher than the sleep state. You just say, hey, you know what, I can do something with my life. Yeah, I can go get a job, or yeah, I deserve to have that. You just start to kind of feel a little bit important, and so that's the dream state. The next state is the waking state. Now, I remember this just like yesterday. I began to wake up to reality. Like, it hit me like a light bulb. I just sparked on like lightning, you know what I mean, in a blink of an eye that one day. If you didn't watch some of my recent videos, I think I talk about that in one of my recent videos in the very beginning when I first started or whatever. But anyway, like, I awakened, and I just began to just see life for what it really was, and I knew what I had to do. versus when you grow up, nobody's telling you how to really live life. Only thing that people are giving you is their opinion of how you should do things. When you were growing up, your mama and daddy probably was like, do it this way, do it that way, do it this way, and you better do it that way. If you don't do that, it ain't gonna be right for you. But they didn't never really tell you how to really truly live life. They didn't never teach you how to function in a relationship with a significant other, or they didn't ever teach you about how it was very important to eat fruits and take your vitamins and eat vegetables. They just said, you know what, this is the best dinner that we only know how to cook: potatoes, rice, and cabbage. Like, and you got in your mind, like, you know what, that's one of the meals that I can make for my husband, or that's one of the meals that I can make for my wife: potatoes, cabbage, and potato salad. Like, and so it's like a mind thing, it's like a psychological thing, but they didn't never break down to you what life was really about. So you, in the waking state, you all that becomes old. You wake up to who you really are, and what needs to be done. Like, you just see life like, dang. In the beginning, you might say, you know what, like, dang, this is a bad place, or dang, the world is grimy. I remember saying to myself, God, like, life is so crooked. It's so corrupt. The government, I was blaming the government. I went through that whole New World Order phase that a lot of people going through. I thought the New World Order was going to take over the world, and World War III was coming, and the Illuminati. I went through all that phases. I went through all that. I thought that the Illuminati was after me and all this crazy madness, but I had to break through that level of consciousness in order to get to where I am today. I noticed that a lot of people are in that waking consciousness where they're waking up to the truth about the world around them, and they're going through the same thing I went through. I know a friend of mine who's like, oh my God, if Obama does another term, that's going to be martial law. Like, they're in the New World Order, or just waking up to the truths of the government and stuff like that stage. And it's like, it's a different vibratory level of consciousness, and they vibrating at a different level, but it's just all because they're trying to find their way, and they going out and they dabbing and dibbing in all this information, and they don't know how to put the information in the proper category so that they can move on. They just pretty much just dibbing and dabbing in all this information, and it's polluting their mind with all this negative energy because they're taking it in all at one time. Okay, I ain't gonna hold you too long, guys. I know I'd like to talk, but the next one is the transcendental consciousness. You transcend the waking part, and you just become alert. This is the person in Walmart I was telling you about, who actually notices that Walmart is getting robbed. They are alert. They realize their uniqueness of who they are as a person. They have a high self-esteem. Like, you ever ran into those cocky people that are just like, they think they all that. You ever seen that girl that's like, she thinks she all that to the point that she runs over other people? Yeah, she's probably in her transcendental stage of consciousness. She probably don't know that. But some people are just gifted with like a high self-esteem ego. Like, some people are gifted with alertness. Some people are gifted and rise above all the first stages of consciousness and just become a transcender of everybody around them. Like, some people are just like the eye of the pie. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are some people who just rub off on you so easily because they got that much swagger. Like, I know I've ran across a lot of people in my lifetime that just had it. Like, I don't know what they had, but they just had the charm. They just had the charisma. Like, I remember a couple guys that were some of my best friends. They just had this thing about them. It's like, man, you have to admire that because they were so captivating and compelling. And little did they know, they probably were in the transcendental state of consciousness. All right, the fifth one is cosmic consciousness. Cosmic consciousness. Cosmic consciousness is when you start to become fully aware of who you are as a being. You seek praise from other people. You find yourself in moments of blissfulness, where you just zone out, and you like to meditate a lot. You really don't have a lot of your ego. You're not trying to be egotistical like most people are. You're not trying to thrive to get people to like you or anything like a lot of people are, stuck in that, just trying to get validation from other people's stages. You're way past that. You see past trying to get approval from others in order to validate yourself. you're more into the cosmic array of life. Like you're probably becoming more infatuated with astronomy. You like to look up in the night sky and just gaze and just see the stars and just count the stars, and you like to just talk about the weather and earth and geographical things that are going on, all kinds of things that are like kind of outside of the mind of the normal person, to the point that you don't really like to express it a lot, because you know that a lot of people won't really be comfortable with talking about some of the weird things that you like to talk about. You're more than likely in a cosmic consciousness state of consciousness. The next one, the number 6, is God consciousness. God consciousness. Now I'm in this stage. I think I'm in God consciousness stage, and what God consciousness is that you begin to see the God in everybody. Like you begin to see people for who they really are, versus judging people when you first walk up to them. You're not racist. You don't see colors. Like I see different races, and I just see the person like of their highest potential. But as opposed to somebody of a lower consciousness, they're so low in their consciousness, they see color as a determining factor of what that person might be. That is so kindergarten, ain't it? But that's the level of consciousness that a lot of people are. People are racist, so they're at low states of consciousness. That's ignorance. That's a form of fashion of ignorance, because they still trying to decide which color to use for the coloring book, as opposed to, hey, there are many different colors. You can make this picture as beautiful as you want it to be. Don't you remember in school where the teacher was like, okay, everybody, you can color now, and she was always like, you can make this picture whatever you want it to be. It could be as beautiful as you want it to be. If you want to make little dots on it, you can make dots. If you want to make stripes on it, you can make stripes. Color it like a rainbow. You have all these coloring tools over here you can use. You got markers, you got colored pencils, you got crayons, but you never really saw that you had so many, coloring tools to use. Only thing you was thinking about was, which color do I want to pick next? And you was looking at the color name on it. You was reading the name of the color. Oh my God, this is celery green. Oh, that sounds cool. I'm gonna use that. So you were in a low state of consciousness. So because you were thinking about just the color, you weren't looking at the bigger picture of, what do you want this picture to look like? What type of beauty you want this picture to represent? And it's the same state of consciousness that a lot of people are at. They're at a level of racism. They're at a level of judging people as soon as they meet them because their eyebrows are different. They're at a level of judging people. Oh, their hair is in dread, so they might be thugs. Oh my God, he has his hair up in spikes, so he may be a lunatic, or he may be crazy or a psycho. Oh my God, he has his hair cut and he's wearing a tight shirt that's a college shirt. He must be a nerd. So you can't, in this state of consciousness, you don't have no like thinking like that. You're not thinking like judging. And the universe or God tells us specifically in the Holy Bible, like, don't judge nobody. And so in order to be God consciousness, you have to be the type of person who's just able to be around people and just accept people for who they are. No matter what they come from, where they come from, no matter what their background is, no matter how they talk, their lingo is, no matter where they're from. You can't judge people based off the little small categories of what their life make them as. You know what I'm saying? And so that's God consciousness. You become God, once again, God consciousness is you just rising above the 5 senses, which is see, taste, smell, touch, and feel. You become the person who doesn't judge based off see, smell, taste, touch, and feel. So the last one, but not least, God, is unity consciousness. Unity consciousness. This is the highest level of consciousness that you could possibly be. This is the level of consciousness that a lot of superstars are at. Who found their life purposes and who have endless amounts of money, and who has full joy and happiness, if they do. This is the level that you realize who you are as a being. You have your own unique style. Nobody's style is like yours, and you're not trying to be nobody else's style. You're comfortable with the way you talk. You talk the way you talk, and you realize you don't have to be like nobody else. You got your own thing going on. You got your own business going on. You got your own TV show going on because it's your show. You doing your things. You got your way of thinking. This is the way of thinking that you have self-actualization. You have actualized yourself. You have become oneness with yourself. You love yourself. You see all the richness and the beauty in yourself. See, person at a very, very low state of consciousness, they don't think that they're pretty. They don't see, they pretty, but they eyes and their perception can't see that they're really pretty. They can't see all the great beauty about themselves. Person of a higher state of consciousness and unity consciousness, they see the greatness therein, and everybody has this greatness about themselves. You will be able to just notice all the fancy things that you do. You will begin to notice how captivating you actually are, how charismatic you are. You begin to notice all the little petty little things that you do, but they actually are wonderful things that you do, that you like, man, I love myself. You become fully immersed in yourself. Not in an egotistical way, because you don't have no ego no more. You're just able to walk out around people and just say hey to everybody and just be open with yourself. You're not closed off anymore. You just walk into public places and you just start talking to strangers. You can walk up to the bum or the homeless person on the street and just talk to them about life. You can just go into a park and just run up to people and say like, hey, how you doing? You want to do da da da? This is a higher state of consciousness, because you have no fear. You're not fearing anything. You're not fearing the worst. You're not fearing being pulled over by the police. Actually, a lot of people in this state of consciousness think that they're above the law. They know that the police, they can't touch them. They know nobody can't do nothing wrong to them. They know they can say what they want and get away with it every single time. Most people like this have a lot of money. Most people like this are very rich. They found the fruit of life, and they have their fruit show it. Their fruit show it. They got a lot of people that they influence. They got a lot of cars in their driveway. They work at the local church. They have their own nonprofit organizations going on. They're helping the world. They're giving back to the world. They create products for the world to use, because they're giving back. They're at service. They're no longer serving themselves, but they've realized the essence of life is to serve people and to serve others. And so in this unity consciousness, they fully immerse themselves into giving back to the world and making the world a better place, rather than making themselves a better person all the time and trying to empower themselves, and it's all about them. They worried about other people and making the world a better place. This is what it's all about, guys. The 7 layers of consciousness explained. I'm Transcendental. This is the infamous Living Realm Network. Please speak up. Let your voice be heard. We're on the 1-month Clear Conscience Challenge. I'll see you next time. Peace. All right. Got that mud done for the day, Phoenix. That mud done, Phoenix.